or something for
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can start.
Start and talk louder, okay?
All right.
And we are recording also.
Okay, so overview for our subsystem. We are the power subsystem for design 1. Power is generated by human mechanical energy by turning a flywheel by hand or by foot. This is achieved by attaching 2 flywheels on either end of an axle. The axle is keyed for easy assembly and maintenance. One flywheel has a handle. The handle would be attached to a radial distance of about 38 centimeters, something so that you can get a full range of motion when you're turning it for more muscle activation. The other flywheel would have a small concentric gear on one side. This would be keyed or toothed such that a common bike chain could go on the outside of it. The flywheel would be attached to the bike, suspended by a stand, fixed and sturdy, and the rear wheel of the bike would be replaced by the flywheel.
So here's just kind of an overview of the system we have in mind for our first prototype here. So you can see how the rear wheel was removed from the bike, and we would have a geared part that's directly attached to the flywheel there. That would be driven by either a new chain or the original bike chain. And then here's our stand here, and we are working to make it more adjustable currently, but this is our first design here. It's adjustable for height because I'm assuming there'll be many different bikes. So we're trying to make it so that it can be adjusted for any type of bike you want to use for it.
And then as far as the assumptions that we tested, the practicality of attaching the bike to the rock crusher was the main one, because you can't have all of the bike's weight resting on just that single gear, and then so it can snap, there can be issues there. And then also, as far as safety, we could add another chain and get the bike away so that it's not holding its own weight, but then you're adding another chain and there's a lack of safety there. So managing all 3 of those, the safety, stability, and the effectiveness as far as the amount of energy that they're putting into the system, how much does that come out in the spinning of the flywheel, and then also just attaching to the shaft and the optimal flywheel size. I think Grayson mentioned how that 38 centimeters, that's what we determined was about the optimal size.
So just a few things that we kind of learned from both our SolidWorks model and the prototype was just how easy we think the keyed axle would be for removing the flywheels. If, say, you wanted to do that if you were moving the machine, it would make it a little bit easier. We still think that it might need a pin or set screw, so that's something we'll be playing with in the future. The stability of the attached bike with our bike stand that we built, we think that it should be pretty strong. It has 3 points of contact, so we believe it should be designed well enough so that an operator can be on that bike and turning it while it's moving the flywheel. And yeah.
So then for future testing, we still haven't really determined the material of the flywheel. There's, depending on what they have available and what's cheaper, marker forces will definitely play into that. And then the flywheel gear size, we haven't quite determined what the optimal size for that is, just because depending on the different bikes we're looking at and depending on how strong the people are, we may be able to get away with a smaller gear in the back so that they're putting more force in, but then they have to pedal harder. And so balancing that out, maybe even making some adjustable gears, some switchable gears, that might be an option. And then looking at the viability of the keyed shaft and if we can beat that as far as ease of assembly for other options. Any questions?
So, do you know how, like, potential strength of the bike chain is?
No. Not yet. Not that too.
Okay. And yeah, that's something to look up. Or can you just use like regular chain, or you need a stronger chain? Something.
Yeah, and that's one thing we can also with a bigger gear, we'll be putting less force on the chain, and so that's something that we'll need to take into account. You had a question?
Yeah, so when the flywheel was low from the bicycle, is that whole component adjustable like vertically so that you don't want to turn it down here? Okay, that'd be adjustable.
We're hoping to make it.
Yep.
Or at least so that the bar stand will go up. I didn't model this quite well enough. The bike would probably be further up. The front wheel would be down farther, so this would rise up in the vertical direction. This is just more to show kind of what our initial ideas are.
No more questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.